I just totally wiped out my retirement fund, and now I'm giving it to the nursing home.
Get your financial awareness booster. Welcome to ThinkSmartz. I'm your host Lee Tan. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, the Secure Act 2.0. That's a big topic right now. Yeah, it's a big topic right now. So if you're not familiar with Secure Act, the Secure Act 1.0 was passed in 2019.
Yeah, it was passed just in the early part of 2020. Yeah. But it was written in...
Yeah, it's an acronym for Setting Every Community Up for Retirement Enhancement. Oh, what a beautiful name, right? So today we're talking about the 2.0. Depending on when you are watching this video, they probably get passed by the Congress and signed into law. One of the biggest thing is the age to start taking RMDs increased to age 73 in 2023 and to 75 in 2033. So it's a delaying of RMDs. RMD is required minimum distribution of your retirement fund.
Correct.
And will that really benefit you by delaying the age or not?
Depends.
Right?
Depends on your situation. So for those individuals that need to live on and use their RMDs to pay their bills and live in retirement, they're going to need to take them right away.
Yeah.
So the Secure Act doesn't really impact them.
Yeah. So delaying the minimum distribution really doesn't impact the people who need the money.
Right.
They need the money anyway,
right.
No matter you want the age to delay it or not.
Yeah, and it's also going to level off the playing field for their taxation in retirement, as opposed to having a big bump up when they do take RMDs for those that delay even further.
Okay. Yeah. So for which group of people this change they may think will impact their life or help their
it's going to impact them no matter what.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how that's going to affect people.
Yeah. Because I think about this, for average people, and they'll hear about this, I have more time to accumulate my wealth now.
Yeah. But we don't know what tax tables are going to change. But the IRS publishes the 590 tax table, and that's the distribution schedule for required minimum distributions. And it's a divisor. And people have to understand it's a divisor. And the divisor goes down. So a lot of times people live in their heads with percentages, rates. So if it were a rate or a percentage and it's going down, you'd think you're not taking as much money out. But where it's a divisor, you're actually taking more money out. So if your RMDs you're taking RMDs out, you're getting taxed on them. Hope that whatever's remaining, you're earning money. So the following year, the divisor rate goes down and you earn money. So now you're taking more money out. So it winds up becoming a tax burden down the road. So what the Secure Act 2.0 has done, it has delayed that for a couple of years for people. But what it's also done is it's allowing those funds to grow larger without being repositioned. In my opinion, it's a wonderful thing for investment companies and investment advisors because they get to keep the money working for them longer. If they're keeping it working in the same vehicle that it's been in, then they're capitalizing on the 2.0 and their company is making more money and they're making more money, and the recipient of these RMDs eventually going to pay more because the tax tables are going to change, and there's going to be taking out more money later, and there'll be a taxable impact down the road. But it's allowing investment companies and investment advisors to work your money longer.
Yeah. Let's make this clear for our audience. Every time we mentioned RMDs, we're talking about qualified money.
Qualified money, correct.
Right. So in your book, you emphasize understanding of qualified money and non-qualified money, a big deal, right?
It is.
So when you're talking about qualified money, so it's basically saying you are not in total control of the money.
Well, that's correct.
Yeah.
The IRS has guidelines that are approved through Congress and the Senate, allowing them to retain your money longer, and you can't reposition that money unless you pay the taxes on it. So you're in operation with the government with these funds.
Yes.
And put it in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm allowing you to defer taxation on some money, I'm going to have some kind of control over how you can defer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that type of money, you're gonna pay the tax sooner or later.
Yeah. Eventually, you have to pay the tax. Yeah. Or future generations pay the tax. But the longer they wait, the tax gets bigger, and the tax tables aren't getting more favorable; they're getting less favorable. When you look at the Secure Act, so what we've done is we've gone from 70.5 to 72 to 73 and to 75 in 10 years.
75 in 2030.
2033. So 10 years from now. Okay? So if I'm sitting there on a boatload of retirement funds and I'm delaying them, great. I'm not getting taxed right now on today's tax tables. But in 2 years, the tax tables are going to change because we've been spending a lot of money and someone's got to pay that money back. So the tax table changes. It's not going to go down. It's going to go up. So now we're going to be paying more on that. In 10 years, we will have grown more money, and the people that are growing it for us will be very happy. But when we start taking more money out, the divisor is lower, which is going to force us to take more money out. And the tax table is going to be higher, because when we take money out, the divisor, that money becomes taxable, and it goes into our ordinary income. And it goes right into the tax form, and we get taxed at the rate that year that it comes out, not the year it went in. So it creates a major problem down the road. And bigger than that, if we expand down the road further, we're now delaying our money and we're shortening the window of opportunity to take the money out. And if I delay it till 73 or 75, and at 85, I haven't taken it all out, and I need long-term care, and I have to go into a nursing home, it ruins my opportunity to utilize Medicaid.
Okay, so in order to utilize Medicaid, you have to, if you have a lot of qualified money, the government will force you to spend.
You have to spend that first before the
in order
government's
to be
going to help
qualified
you out.
for.
Correct. So it's delaying the opportunity. And also, so there's two people that use Medicaid. There are people that need Medicaid and they're poor, and there are people that are wealthy and that have protected their assets and have gifted it out before, have repositioned it so that they can look poor on paper.
Yeah, there are ways to shield your wealth from government rich.
Correct. If the person were to go into a nursing home, and we're in 2020, almost 2023 now, in Massachusetts, we're talking about $18,000 a month for a nursing home. What that does is suddenly it attacks your retirement funds. But if I'm taking $18,000 a month out of my retirement fund, that's a little over $200,000 a year that's coming out of that on top of what I would normally take. So what it's then done, it's doing is it's jacked up my tax table. If I was paying 10% this year and I'm going to a nursing home next year, and I went from a 10% tax rate to a 20% tax rate, or a 24% or 32%, I just totally wiped out my retirement fund that I've worked hard for and saved for and delayed, and now I'm giving it to the nursing home.
Yeah.
And and I can't do anything about that until I've worked it down.
So the accumulation is not protected.
No, you can't. And whenever you play with qualified money, qualified assets, it's in your social security number. You can't put it in a tax ID number. You have to pay the taxes on it first. And back to the circle of taking it out sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
And ignoring what they're talking about with the Secure Act. They haven't changed the penalty year. You can take money out after age 59 and a half without an IRS penalty. So wouldn't it make more sense to start taking money out at 60 years old and repositioning it bit by bit, pay the taxes on it, reposition it into other areas so that you can then protect those areas? My perspective of being in the insurance world and being in the long-term care industry, my perspective is that the people that are presenting the Secure Act, we're not talking about stretch IRAs, we're talking about the Secure Act 2.0, and it discusses RMDs. Their objective is not to discuss how people are going to pay for long-term care when they need it. Their objective is to allow people to delay taking money, letting it grow, and when they get to that point, it's going to shorten the period of time where they're going to take money out. So the psychology of a person, and I'm not a psychologist, but the typical psychology is, if I've been saving for the last 40 years into a retirement fund, into an IRA, a 401k, a 403b, I'm going to be, my habits aren't going to change when I retire. I'm probably going to be very cynical about pulling money out, or I'm going to still be wise about pulling money out because I want to save for a rainy day. All well and good, but if you never need long-term care, you win. It's wonderful. But if you need long-term care, and the statistics,
which a lot of people do.
85%, 85% of the people use long-term care in some form, small or large, whatever. But I deal with people with dementia, a lot of them, and they're in facilities for 10, 15 years. I just had one pass away a couple months ago. She was in a facility for 8 years. Before that, her husband was caring for her at home. And, he passed away and couldn't handle it anymore. It blows out the qualified asset because you have no control over it unless you pay the taxes. So if I had $1 million of qualified asset and I'm going to a nursing home, I need to pay the taxes on that in order to protect it. But guess what? Medicaid looks back 5 years to see where that money's spent. Right. Yeah. They want to see where that money's spent. And if they see that you took $1 million, paid the taxes on it, and gave it to somebody, guess what? That gift has to come back.
Yeah.
And so they've got it pretty much locked down. And the longer the period of time of planning for that issue, and by the way, that issue will cost more than the taxes that you didn't pay because you delayed.
Think about this.
If that makes sense.
You work so hard for your retirement, you accumulate wealth, and when it's time to enjoy it, you'd better position them wiser.
It's all about long-term care. And a politician, a senator, a congressman, whomever, doesn't want to talk to their voters about long-term care. It's a nasty conversation.
Yeah, it's a very hard conversation for all the clients.
Right.
Think about, the last couple of years of your life without
It's a nasty conversation. So they don't want to talk about that because it's going to lose votes. So instead, they turn around and say, you know what? We're going to come up with the Secure Act of 2.0, and we're going to increase the years, the ages for retired distributions, right? And we know we're shortening the period before a person dies or needs long-term care, and the chances are the investment advisors are going to grow the money, and they're going to be happy because they're going to make the money. Person using the beneficiary of the money isn't going to use it very long, and then there'll be more money sitting there for long-term care use, taking the pressure off of Medicaid.
Yeah. I mean, the government will position themselves as the winner, no matter what.
This is an unbiased perspective.
Yeah.
Right now, I don't represent investment firms. I do work with long-term care, so I know down the road it has to be paid for, one way or the other. So the individual doesn't want to take it out of their retirement funds. They want to keep that they've worked hard for that. And they want to pass that on to their children. And that's even been limited. So, but by creating this issue, by delaying more, it positions money to be used if long-term care is needed.
We are not here to just bashing, criticizing anyone.
No, I'm just trying to give you a perspective.
Yeah, so because every aspect, they have their own agenda, right? So we just help you to understand what is your best interest.
Well, that's what the Retirement Education Center is all about, is trying to present a perspective that is unbiased and that people can understand what's best for them. Now, if I'm in a situation where I need to use my RMDs, I would use them. If I'm in a position where I don't need to use my RMDs, I would still sit down with my tax advisor and I would schedule out how much I should take out beginning at age 60 years old and reposition that into other places so that I can protect them or gift them or do something with them so that I'm in a position 10, 15, 20 years down the road. If I need long-term care, I have options. But the option that the Secure Act is presenting is minimizing the options at the end.
Like we said earlier, delaying is not making problem going away.
Right.
Okay.
If you have a problem bigger later on.
Yeah. If you have further questions, welcome to reach out to us.
Yeah.
Okay, sit down and have a discussion.
Yep. Love to talk to people.
Yeah. Wish you a great new year of 2023, and we'll see you soon.